Hello and welcome back to Heavy Metal Devils. Danny here, bringing you more of the latest Manchester United news. And how's everyone doing today? I'm doing all right. Just got back from the gym, had a great shoulder session. People have been asking me, why do you train so much? You know, I train so much because I want to launch the Glazers out of this club once the sale gets done. If it ever gets done. If not, I'm going to launch them out regardless. Anyway, enough with the jokes. Lots of news to get into today regarding Harry Maguire and Scott McTominay potentially being sold this week. Fred, Donnie going, and a bit of news on Mason Greenwood and a new kit launch. Man, that kit looks badass. But just before we get into all of this news, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. We are on the road to 1,000 subscribers, and I cannot do it without all of your help. It means a lot to me. So let's get to 1,000, maybe before the season even starts. Let's see what we can do there. Anyway, let's get into the news right now. So, lots and lots of news coming out about Harry Maguire and Scott McTominay going to West Ham. So apparently yesterday, according to Fabrizio Romano, Laurie Whitwell, a few other news sources as well, West Ham came in with a £60 million bid for Harry Maguire and Scott McTominay. Now, just before we get into this bid, a lot of people have been reporting that this was a joint bid. 30 for Maguire, 30 for McTominay. Now, that's not the case. These were two separate bids, totaling $60 million. So I can see where people thought it was a joint bid, but these were actually two separate bids. Manchester United went and rejected both bids for these players. Now, apparently Manchester United want around $40 million for Harry Maguire and $45 million for Scott McTominay. If it was up to me, I would have taken that $60 million. Boom, done. Out. We are good. I'm quite happy with a £60 million fee for both those players. Now, my concern here is I don't want to lose these negotiations over $5-6 million. I think we will get this deal done. It looks like they are going to go back in for Maguire today, according to Fabrizio Romano. They are going to go in for a higher bid on Maguire. I think around the £35 million mark is what has been said. I think we will take a bite and we might actually do that deal. It could see Maguire leave this week. McTominay, we're a bit unsure about. If they can come in with 32, 35 million, I'm sure we'll sell him. But there's also been talks that Erik ten Hag is a bit reluctant to sell McTominay at the moment. He could sell him in January, but he kind of sees them as an asset at the moment, seeing as we only have about 4 to 5 midfielders, with Kobe Mainoo being injured potentially until that January time. If it was up to me, I'm selling both of them. I don't see them having much of a future, especially Maguire. I think McTominay will only play 10 minutes here, 10 minutes there, and maybe some Carabao Cup minutes as well. Nothing more than that. One thing that's come out as well that's been a boost for the Harry Maguire saga to West Ham is that he is now keen on joining West Ham if the valuation is right and they can agree on wages as well. So he looks like he wants to join. Now it's just getting those numbers right. And just in case that this deal does fall through with West Ham, there are other clubs currently circling around both McTominay and Maguire, such as Everton and Newcastle. I believe Newcastle would be more for McTominay and Everton would be more for Maguire. But I do see Maguire heading to West Ham. This is becoming, I would say, around 80 to 90% likely to happen. Now, originally, I thought this deal would not be done until January. It didn't seem like much movement was happening. All of our center back targets were heading other places. So I thought maybe we sit tight, hold on to him until January. But it looks like with the likes of Todibo on our radar, we do want to push Maguire out and go get the likes of a center back from Nice like Todibo. Maybe there's a few others that they've scouted but not have really mentioned yet. And with McTominay going out, we all know Amrabat is just sitting and waiting for that call to come join Manchester United. He will be a Manchester United by the end of the transfer window. We just got to get a few more players out to fund that move. An interesting name that has also been linked to Manchester United regarding this McTominay potential move, and I mentioned this last week before most people did, by the way, so go back and watch that video, is that there's been links to Romeo Lavia. The talks with Lavia and Liverpool seem to have stalled. It doesn't seem like Liverpool are keen to pay the fee Southampton want, which could mean if we drum up the right amount of money, we could go in for a guy like Lavia, and I think that would be an excellent deal for us. I don't actually see that happening. There's been talks about us wanting to raise 100 million. I personally wouldn't go for. I would love to go for a guy like Lavia, but if we've got 100 million, I am testing those Kane waters. I'm getting increasingly doubtful that Kane is actually going to Bayern, seeing that they've rejected 100 million pounds from Bayern over the weekend. I don't think Bayern will come back in with a higher fee than that. So it kind of leaves the door open if we do make 100 million in sales to go back in for a Harry Kane. Like I said, since day one, keep an eye on the Harry Kane saga. Things could heat up in the last few days of the transfer market. Now, moving on, talking about more outs. Ten Hag and the club have said they want 4 players out in the next few days and the next week. 2 being Maguire, potentially McTominay, but another being Donnie van der Beek, and the other being Fred, as well as Dean Henderson. That's 4 to 5 players at the moment. But let's talk about Donnie van der Beek. So Donnie van der Beek looks to be headed to Real Sociedad. It looks like around a 15 million pound deal happening there, which is a bit low. It's kind of crazy that we're going to be selling Fred and Donnie van der Beek for less than McTominay. I personally rate both of those players higher than McTominay, but McTominay is like 20, a bit younger than Fred, a little bit older than Donnie van der Beek, a bit more experienced, a lot more physical and taller as well. So I can see why some clubs would be more keen on a McTominay transfer than van der Beek, but it does look like Van der Beek is going to head to Spain. This is coming from multiple outlets such as Fabrizio Romano, though there has been reports that there has been reports that this could be a loan deal, but I do not see the club going for a loan deal anymore for Donnie van der Beek. I just want to say this is coming from BBC Sport. So Donnie van der Beek, Real Sociedad talks for Manchester United midfield. The midfielder in talks with Real Sociedad about a move away from Manchester United. United paid 35 million 3 years ago, which was a kind of a random transfer at that time. We were not expecting that. But all these reports linking him to a move to Spain. And anyway, on more outs, this is coming straight from Fabrizio Romano, by the way. Yeah, Fabrizio Romano saying Donnie van der Beek could be on loan. I'm sure there's going to be some more movement there, whether it's going to be a loan to buy. I feel like they won't do anything less than a loan with an option to buy at the end for Donnie. Fred has also a permanent transfer in mind. We all know Galatasaray was the club he was keen to go to, but they could not afford him, so they look out of the race. But according to Fabrizio Romano, several clubs are keen on Fred. I think Fulham is one of those. Saudi Arabia is also one of those clubs, one of the clubs in Saudi Arabia, so we'll keep an eye on that. We need Fred, Donnie, and also Maguire to go. We need to fund a move for Amrabat, Todibo, and potentially one other, maybe a backup striker or even a last-minute Harry Kane push. The Harry Kane thing is all hopes. I'm just keeping an eye on that because it's quite interesting that he hasn't gone to Bayern yet and doesn't seem like he will be going to Bayern. But yes, anyway, Manchester United trying to get up to 4 players out to raise up 100 million pounds to fund a few more moves and to even out the books a bit more. And more on the outs. There's been also more talks about Dean Henderson. Now, we all know that Nottingham Forest has signed the backup goalkeeper from Arsenal. I think his name is Matt Turner. And they are still keen on Dean Henderson. Now, they want Dean Henderson on loan again. I'm kind of sick of all these loans. I don't know about you guys. Comment below. Are you sick of all these loans we're dishing out? We need to start getting rid of these players. But Nottingham Forest want two goalkeepers to compete with each other. I think the only way we agree with a loan to Nottingham Forest is a loan to buy. But it looks like Nottingham Forest are willing to do that, but they're going to make the games required for that option to buy quite high. So there needs to be some negotiations there because he's not guaranteed to play every game with Matt Turner also being there. So yeah, it could be a sticky situation with Dean Henderson. I don't believe he has any future at the club. He's kind of talked his way out of that, burnt some bridges last year a bit. So yeah, it's going to be an interesting thing happening with Dean Henderson. But I do believe he will head to Nottingham Forest as when they can negotiate that loan deal. It looks like it will be a loan, but there will be an option to buy on that loan. Let me know what you think. I think Dean Henderson needs to get the hell out. We've got our keeper. We do need a backup, but I just don't think Dean Henderson is that guy anymore. Anyway, moving on. You may have seen this morning that there has been pictures of Mason Greenwood back in training. I don't know what this points to. He's been training, I think, consistently since this incident happened about 18 months ago. He's not training with the team. It looked like in a park, a random park somewhere, and the person in the video, in the pictures, I believe, was his father. So this was not like a Manchester United sanctioned training. We all know that there's Fabrizio Romano and a few other outlets have reported that Manchester United are set to make an announcement on Greenwood before the first game of the season on Monday next week. And we're getting to Monday quite fast, and I haven't seen anything happen with Mason Greenwood yet. So there could be some things happening. There's been also reports that most players are keen for him to return to the club. They believe he deserves a second chance now that the charges have been dropped. I have voiced my opinion on this over and over again. I would rather see him go on loan. It's going to be a huge distraction for us. I feel like Erik ten Hag has dealt with enough distractions since he's come to the club, whether it was Ronaldo, whether it was Maguire, and now Greenwood. It's just been a lot for him. So I think maybe moving him somewhere else for the year, let him get his fitness back, let us assess the crowd response, because we need to remember he's going to get hammered by opposition fans, by the press, and most likely even by Manchester United fans. I know a lot of people who are not keen for him to return. So we've got to watch for his mental health. And anyone who thinks that being out for 18 months and that can just come straight back into the team right away, I think you're living on a different planet. Anyway, we'll see what happens with Mason Greenwood. We all know he's been training. He's been training since he's had this problem surface 18 months ago. So I don't really think this is any big news. We're just all sitting tight to see what happens with this announcement if it does happen. I'm expecting him to go out on loan, but we'll see what happens. There are a lot of signs of him potentially staying with the club. And now on to the last bit of news for today. Anyone see that kit launch? I think it came out this morning with Roy Keane in it. Man, that was a beautiful kit. Now, I see a lot of people on Instagram throwing their hands up being like, oh, this is a devil thing. I don't know if you know this, but we're called the Red Devils. I'm not sure if people actually knew that was the name, the nickname for the club. That was the slogan, that our mascot is the Red Devil. So I'm not sure why people are getting all antsy and throwing religion into this. I think it's quite hilarious, actually. But that's none here, no there. But this kit is absolutely stunning. Now, I don't really go and buy kits too often. I might go and grab this one. I know a lot of people will complain about funding the Glazers. Look, we've already received the money for the kit. And maybe I'll buy it from some third party. Who knows? Not saying I will. I just really, really enjoy this kit. It's a very, very nice kit. The announcement video was pretty cool. Nothing spectacular. I thought it was a little it was just cool to see Roy Keane back at the club. They don't really do a lot of stuff with Roy Keane since he left the club all those years ago. But it's good to see him back. I would like to see him more involved with the club. I love his attitude and the way he speaks, his toughness, everything about him. One of the greatest players of all time. So it would be great to get him back into the club. Maybe talk to the players, help them with that tough mentality. But we'll see what happens. Maybe Roy Keane becomes an ambassador for the club. But yeah, let me know. Do you like this new kit launch? I thought that kit was absolutely sexy, man. I even like that green kit, but a lot of people hate. I just hate the back of it, to be honest. But quite enjoying the kits this season. That white and red one is off the chain, in my opinion. But yeah, anyway, let me know what you think below about the kit. What about Harry Maguire, Scott McTominay looking like they are leaving? Especially Maguire looks to be on his way out. I'd say 80 to 90% likely he is gone. Donnie van der Beek looks off to Spain. Fred deal happening soon. Lots of clubs into that. So yeah, anyway, comment below. Let me know what you think. Let's get to 1,000 subscribers, guys. It would be sick. Anyway, I'll see you all on the next one. I'm doing a video later today with Premier League predictions, so keep your eye out on that. And yeah, anyway, see you all on the next one. Later.